What is good, everyone? A-Rock Oakley back for part 3 of building Wedge Antilles in Star Wars Unlimited. This is Set Force Talking. Super, super fun. We got some amazing spoilers, and I can't wait to talk about them. And definitely Wedge, the leader of Red Squadron, we are getting a lot more tools, which allows us this deck to kind of maybe be able to shift and adapt depending on the meta. So really excited for that, and definitely some amazing cards to talk about. Before we jump into that, I want to talk about a card that I didn't get to talk about. Also, Sweetie B, changing it up, looking nice, kind of cool concept. Big ups to them for elevating and changing. So cool. But Swanee, just an amazing person in the KTUD Discord and other Discords has brought to light prepare for takeoff. I think that this card is absolutely insane in what it offers and can be really great as a sideboard option into the control matchups. Where if they're really, picking off all of our fighters and all of our space units. This allows us to grab two more and potentially on the future turns be able to play more after a super laser blast. Play this, play two more. That's amazing and can really claw us back into games. So this is a card that I didn't talk about before, but I think it's something we definitely need to be considering. There's been a lot of people talking and discussing Wedge, and especially in these colors, that I think that this is a card that we need to have on our radar. So definitely in that maybe board to kind of keep us going. But let's talk about the new cards. We have some really, really cool ones, and we'll start off with the ship Red 5. So this is a 3/4 in space, 4/3. Great stats. Now, the on attack is going to function really well with a couple other of our units, which we'll talk about in a second. This will deal 2 damage to a damaged unit, which is sick. So our Red Squadron Y-Wing now has extra value. They have to think about where that damage goes because we might be able to pick it off. And we're playing Tarkintown, so if we're adding to the amount of stuff that we can damage up and clean up, which is great. And this being a chosen we get to choose chosen it's like hoisin sauce. Oh my gosh. All right, back to the point. Red 5 allows us to deal 2 damage to a unit that's damaged. So we get to kind of maybe clean up other units, which I think is awesome. So I wouldn't necessarily want to be running this as a full 3 of. I think as we test, I might just be like, okay, cool. Let's just go with 2 of into the main for now. But this card gets nuts, and it can really help us clean up and handle units because they will a Red Squadron Y-Wing start into a Red 5 will make their math really awkward and make their decisions awkward. This is exactly what we want to do with this aggro deck. We want to put our opponent on the back foot, and this card helps with that. So, great additional ship to consider. We got Rebel. It's a fighter. It works in a lot of ways. Biggs is going to love to be in this ship to make it a nice and beefy, and it can overwhelm over. And which is definitely going to lead into our next card, which is Trench Run. So let's read this card. Attack with a fighter unit. For this attack, it gets +4/+0. We're going to stop there because we'll talk about the next part of the text, but this card, for 1, allows us to go +4/+0. And now there are situations where we won't want to use this because now we'll get into the next part of the card. On attack, discard 2 cards from the defending player's deck. Deal unpreventable damage equal to the difference in the discarded costs cards of those units. I didn't paraphrasing, but this is nuts. So you can lose your ship. Now there are certain decks that you don't want to be playing this card for. It's an easy resource, but for 1, if it can be 4 damage, that's really nuts. So now there's going to be certain decks that we won't be going for that on. Obviously, like think heroism. You don't want R2D2 and Luke or like Super Laser Technician and Devastator. Like we don't want that variant. So there are certain decks that you don't really go for this card, but in a lot of situations against other aggro decks where their differences might be 2 to 6, like 4 damage on a piloted unit. I would never be playing this unless it is my only out on a unpiloted fighter. So if we can make the 9 num giving 2 extra HP to our units is huge. That's where I like trench run. Um, it not working with like the Millennium Falcon and Bright Hope maybe makes me a little lower on it, but I think that this is a card we need to be exploring, and in the right situations, this is going to close games. I still think Rebel Assault is our best card to be playing in the deck. This is insane. This can reach pretty insane numbers of damage in the right situations, but Trench Run also gives us a really good concept. So what we're going to take out for that, as our testing goes, is we're going to drop the Forecast, I believe, into the sideboard. We're going to go um, uh, those there, and then we've been talking about maybe dropping Leia for testing. But I think I'm going to drop the Cassian. As much as I love Cassian, our boy, he does so much work. I'm going to drop Cassian to the side as a to keep making use of Leia a little bit more. There it goes. Keep using Leia a little bit more, but what we gained across this is amazing, and I want to be testing, a lot of like push these down to two ofs, like maybe even going down to two Chewbacca because we don't always go for this. This is kind of like a on the wedge flip turn, play this into yeah, it was always like into a four cause or a rebel assault. So or now it's trench run. This might need to go down to two, but it's just insane because plus three for two resources with Wedge's ability is nutty. So maybe not. Wing leaders and maybe even the blue leader could go down. Unsure, but we're gaining more and more. I think right now my hope is I think we're good on the pilots. We could probably use one or two more just to have better options, but I would love to see another two cost ship. A two cost ship that plays it can be just like the Alliance X-Wing. I give me a vanilla ship. That is my ask. Hopefully we get it because I think that that'll increase our turn one plays and increase this deck's consistency just enough to really push it over the edge. But we could always go up to the third Gray Squadron Y wing and play it that way and let it rip, which will be awesome. So we will find the breakpoints with Wedge, but adding Red 5 to play with the Y wings, adding Trench Run. We have some super cool ads, and I am just excited to see where this goes. Let me know what you think of the build down below. If there's cards that I haven't talked about yet, please let me know, and let me know what deck down below what you're most excited about for set 4 Jump to Lightspeed. Yeah, super cool. Wedge is looking good. Be stay tuned for part 4 as we get some more spoilers. Stay awesome, everyone, and may the force be with you.